This piece is in D minor, a beautiful key for the violin. I think it's helpful to think about scales on the violin in terms of the hand positions with the left hand that you're going to need on each string. Today we're going to go over the notes that you'll need on the G string and the D string, plus one left hand trick that's going to come in handy once you start learning the tune. On the G string, you're going to need the open G, the first finger in the regular position on G for an A note, B flat, so we're going to have a low 2, and then a regular position third finger. That's your C note. So those all together, if you want to just go ahead and lift up your fingers, let them hover with this space in between 2 and 3. And let's hear G, A, B flat, C. Great. Now I have some good news for you. The notes that we need on the D string are those exact same finger positions. So use a little shoulder motion here to get yourself arranged with those floating fingers right over the D string now. And we're going to be playing D, E, F natural, and then G. Excellent. This is a super handy finger position. Very worth practicing. 1 and 3 are locked down on our standard position frame. These really help to guide you around while the second finger stays low. Word to the wise, the common mistake that happens with this finger position is that the low 2 will pull the third finger flat. So keep an ear out for that. Make sure that you're hearing that third finger ring with the string below. Like that. If my third finger is a little flat, you'll hear the dead sound afterwards. If it's a little sharp, you'll hear it die. That sweet spot reverberates beautifully. Okay, we're not going to go over any more notes today because we want to give your brain a chance to chomp on those tonight while you sleep. But I am going to show you one little trick that comes in handy a lot, which is when our first finger is going to cover both strings. So our first finger is going to have us prepared to play an A on the G string and an E on the D string pretty close to each other. The trick here is because of the shape of your finger, there's going to be a tendency for the E on the D string to be sharp, right? Because if the note's too far up this way, it's shortening the string, making the note a little bit higher than we want, also known as sharp. So the way that we're going to help even these out so that they sound right together is we're going to lean a little bit of extra pressure over onto the G string, and we're going to be using just enough pressure to catch this note. It might even tend to sound a little bit muted. That's kind of how you know you're on the right track, and then you'll play with it until you get this sound. First, we're going to set things up by playing G to A. And when you do, this is a new muscle memory for you because this is the finger in a totally new position. You're going to put the finger down, touching the D string as well on purpose. This is something that we're trying to avoid a lot of the time, so it feels weird to try to make it happen this way. So we're going to play D and then A, and I'm using this outer edge of my first finger so that the rest of my finger is going to catch the D string as well. If it still feels too weird and your finger is just going right toward the middle where it always plays and it's not touching the D string, then from that point, just kind of scooch it over so that it's touching both, and we'll find them both, which is going to make it easier for you then to return to this position. So we've made sure that our A on the G string is in tune. And now we're just going to play that note on the G string and then change over to the D and see what we've got here with our first finger. That's what it should sound like when it's in tune. If it sounds like your E is making your head want to do this, that's the way I think of it, that means that your E is too sharp and you have too much pressure over here on the D string, so just try rolling toward the A on the G string. If your E sounds too breathy or kind of like makes you want to do that face, that means that it's flat or there's not enough pressure over there. So roll a little bit over that way and then just play with it until you find a sound that pleases you. And if you want to get fancy, you can even try putting your bow on both strings and hearing them together. And then play with that pressure until it sounds pleasing to the ear. Take a couple of minutes to try those on your own, both our finger positions on G and D string and the first finger in covering 2 strings, and then call it a day. Get some good sleep tonight.